Okay, welcome to the annual general meeting of electors. I now declare the annual general meeting of electors open at 6 p.m. and welcome all of those in attendance. Please note that I will look to hopefully an aspirational statement of ending the meeting by 8 p.m. And I advise that this meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded via YouTube. So if anyone has concerns with being live streamed, particularly those asking public questions or raising motions, please speak with an officer in attendance. I now invite the CEO, Ms. Bowman, to read the acknowledgement to country.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The City of Melville acknowledges the Bibbulmun people as the traditional custodians of the land on which the city stands today and pays its respect to the Wadjuk people and elders both past and present.
I now draw your attention to the disclaimer on the screen. The affirmation of civic duty and responsibility on the screen. The advice of audio-visual live streaming and recording on the screen. Okay, item 2, attendance and apologies. We have the following councillors are providing an apology for this evening, and that's Councillor Paniotu and Councillor Woodall. We have no councillors attending electronically. And finally, we have no councillors on leave of absence. Now, I'd like to take a moment to introduce our elected members and officers in attendance in this evening. The following elected members are in attendance. We have Councillor Wheatland, Palmyra, Melville, Willagee Ward. Councillor Barber, Bicton, Adderall, Alfred Cove Ward. Councillor Robbins, Bateman, Cardinia, Murdoch Ward.
Good evening.
Councillor Hong, Bateman, Cardinia, Murdoch Ward. Councillor Ross, Applecross, Mount Pleasant Ward. And Councillor Lim, Applecross, Mount Pleasant Ward. We have Councillor Green from Central Ward. And Councillor York from Central Ward. And, oh, thank you. And Councillor Spanbrook, Bull Creek, Leeming Ward. The following staff are in attendance. Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Bowman. Acting Director, Corporate Services, Ms. Ferreira. Director Planning, Mr. Varellis. Director Environment and Infrastructure, Mr. Coton. Director Governance, Legal and Risk, Mr. Yildiz. Director Community Development, Ms. Pickering. Item 4, disclosure of interest. There are a number of motions to be raised at tonight. Should elected members or officers wish to disclose an interest in any matters, please let me or a member of the governance team know so I can advise the meeting and it can be recorded in the minutes. Item 5, conduct of the meeting. Notice of annual general meeting of electors. I welcome you all once again to the City of Melville 2026 annual general meeting of electors. The annual general meeting of electors is being held for the community to receive the annual report for the 2024 to 2025 period and was advertised on the City of Melville website page, local and statewide public notice and website banner from Wednesday, 14th of January to Monday, 2nd of February, and on public notice boards at the City of Melville Civic Centre, City of Melville Libraries and Leisure Fit Centres from Wednesday, 14th of January to Monday, 2nd of February, and via the Melville Matters e-news on Wednesday, 14th of January 2026, and via the city's social media platforms and the Herald newspaper on Saturday, 17 January 2026. I welcome the community's participation at this meeting and request that everyone participates in a respectful manner. So if you're planning to raise a question or motion at tonight's meeting, please make sure that you have provided city staff a completed form if you have not already done so. Copies are available at the registration table. I will now ask the CEO, Ms. Bowman, to read the manner of conduct of the meeting. Thank you, Ms. Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the public attending the meeting are to be mindful of the following rules of conduct. In the event of an emergency, everyone should take direction from officers who will guide you to the exit points of the building. Toilets are located diagonally opposite this room, immediately before the entry to the council chambers in that direction. All physically present are required to sign the attendance register prior to entering the meeting. Each person who participates in a vote or speaks must be an elector of the City of Melville. The proceedings are being live streamed and recorded for the production of the minutes. All speakers are requested to use the microphone each time they speak, which is over to my left. These minutes will include a summary of any questions asked and a summary of the responses provided. Speakers are asked to clearly give their name and suburb each time they speak and are required to address the Mayor as Chair of the meeting. Only electors of the City may move or second a motion. Motions are to be submitted in writing prior to the commencement of the meeting. All speakers on motions are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. Extensions of time are only permissible with the agreement of simple majority vote of electors present. All elected members and officers attend this meeting to observe the proceedings and hear comments from the electors. All questions and comments should be directed to the Mayor, who may invite a response from the Chief Executive Officer, presiding members of committees or elected members. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Bowman. Item 6, business. 6.1, presentation of the City of Melville Annual Report 2024 to 2025. It is with great pleasure I present the annual report of 2024 to 2025, including the financial report ending 30 June 2025. The 2024-2025 annual report was accepted by Council at a special meeting of Council on Tuesday, 16th of December 2025, and is published on the City of Melville website. I would like to advise the meeting that the City is aware of some minor errors in the data presented in the annual report. These errors do not relate to the audited financial statements, but instead to the text and figures set out in the body of the annual report. These corrections will be presented to the February 2026 ordinary meeting of Council. The City is reviewing the processes to ensure better data validation and information transfer in the future. Now, in the 2024-2025 financial year, the City of Melville was guided by our 5 outcomes as outlined in the Council Plan for the future. The 6 outcome areas are healthy, safe and inclusive, clean and green, sustainable and connected development, vibrant and prosperous, and good governance and leadership. Our achievements in the first quarter, July to September 2024, included the reopening of our Willagee Library after a $1.7 million refurbishment. While on the second quarter, October to December 2024, we were thrilled to welcome $15 million worth of funding through the federal government's Driving Suburbs program for our future library, museums, arts and cultural centre. In the third quarter, January to March 2024, the Leisure Fit Burragoon's pools were reopened after the centre was transformed into a modern, contemporary and accessible facility following a $13.7 million refurbishment. Finally, in the last quarter, April to June 2025, we secured Lottery West support for 2 key projects, the culturally significant Goolagatup Heathcote Lowerlands and an increase in public open space in Canning Bridge. A total of $2.8 million in grant funding was awarded. The city has received, tonight, the city has received 29 questions and 7 motions for consideration tonight. To ensure all members of the community have equitable time to ask their questions or present their motions, each questioner will have 2 minutes to ask their questions and each person presenting a motion will have 5 minutes to speak to it. That's for motions only. So I'm just going to put this comment to you. We have approximately 5 questioners with nearly 30 questions, 29 questions. I request that those people asking questions stick to a 2-minute limit. We have 2 minutes on there just to give an idea of how long you are speaking, because if we have a little practical look at 30 minutes times 2 is 1 hour just on asking questions if each questioner lasts for 2 minutes with their questions. Now, a number of these questions have multiple questions added to them. Some of them have long preambles. Can I ask you please to keep your preamble short? We do have 7 motions. 7 motions just with people putting forward their motion at 5 minutes. That will be 35 minutes of motions just being presented. So I'm just asking you to consider what we're proposing for you in running the meeting, so we're not here till at midnight, or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, time like that. So it's just practical advice. You yourself will have to be self-regulating. We can only advise you. Okay, so let's begin. I now open public question time at 6:12. 6.2.2 questions received in writing prior to the meeting. Questions have been received with notice this evening, and if we have the question asker here in the meeting or have a representative to ask the question, could you please make your way to the microphone to ask your question when called? If there is no one in the audience to ask the question and the question is not taken on notice, the question and response will be provided in the minutes, which will be available to the public on Friday, the 6th of February. So we have 5 questioners with a number of questions each, and I'll call them by name. First of all, I'll mention who they are, and then we'll go through the list, and any questions from the floor after that are welcome. Dr. G. Marnie of Attadale, Mr. M. McCleary of Bicton, Mr. C. Halliday of Myree, Miss E. Nichols of Applecross, and City of Melville Residents and Ratepayers Association. So I'll call upon Dr. Marnie of Attadale first. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, councillors. Good evening, CEO and officers and ratepayers. My first question is, and the context is subject Canning Bridge precinct and the traffic at Canning Bridge. With the unprecedented high-rise building construction in the Canning Bridge precinct, considerably more traffic will be concentrated through this area. What is the projected traffic flow to or from and through this area on Canning Highway 2067, 78, 89 and 930? What measures are currently in place to control to and from traffic in this area? What measures are planned to control traffic to and from and through this area during peak hour, morning and evening, as the population and vehicle density in the area increases substantially? Are any road construction modifications planned to address the traffic flow? And if so, what does this comprise? What is the purpose proposed schedule, and the budgeted cost? Does this involve upgrade modifications to Canning Bridge? And if so, what is the predicted impact on traffic flow through this area during the construction activity?
Thank you. Mr. Coton, Director, Environment and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. In relation to the first question, Canning Highway is a designated primary regional road, so it's under the care and control of main roads WA, and therefore that data is best obtained through MRWA. The structure planning for this area was undertaken with traffic modelling considering the dwelling yields proposed within the structure plan. While some of the developments have exceeded height controls, each individual development, which comprises an increase of 10 or more dwellings, are required to be accompanied by a traffic impact statement, and for larger developments, a more thorough traffic impact assessment. These reports are required to be prepared using the West Australian Planning Commission's guidance documents, which sets minimum content requirements and preparation methodology. These reports are required to demonstrate that the development can be accommodated within the existing traffic network and not create failures within the system. These reports are also required to be prepared by qualified persons in transport and traffic planning. The Canning Bridge Activity Centre and Plan and associated Canning Bridge Infrastructure Transport Strategy seek to manage future traffic by shifting the precinct away from car dependence, improving the public transport, prioritising walking and cycling, maintaining a clear movement hierarchy, and delivering targeted infrastructure upgrades so the area can handle substantial new development without escalating congestion. In relation to question 2, the following measures are currently in place: signalised intersections along Canning Highway, smart freeway integration immediately north, smoothing the morning peak flow, bus priority lanes near the existing station that separate bus movements from general traffic. In relation to question 3, the smart freeway ramp metering upgrades are proposed. The northbound ramp metering on Canning Highway and Manning Road is designed to optimise flow and reducing peak hour delays and minimise queuing. The Canning Bridge bus interchange upgrade will be increasing to 12 active bus stands and 8 layover stands, and removing buses from the road lanes to improve traffic flow, with grade separated pedestrian access and direct bus train transfers to reduce car dependence. The new Southern Principal shared path and pedestrian and cycle bridge connecting Como to Canning Bridge Station and to Eastern Principal shared paths. Canning Highway dedicated eastbound bus lane. It's a main roads and public transport authority project. The design is complete, but there's currently no time frame for delivery. These align with the city's Canning Bridge Integrated Transport Strategy's objective of local movement hierarchy, prioritising walking, cycling and public transport over private vehicles. In relation to question 4, the Canning Bridge bus interchange upgrade is planned to help address traffic flow. This project includes a larger bus interchange facility with 12 active stands.
Excuse me, was that my second question?
Question 4. That's question 4. Yeah.
No, it's question 2. I'd like to speak with that before you give the answer.
Oh, you have given the answer to question 2.
Yes. Well, yeah. It's an answer. Thank you. I don't agree with most of what you said. You put the onus back on us as ratepayers and as residents in the area to approach main roads on this issue. I expect the council to act on our behalf in respect of some of these issues that are affecting us. It took me 54 minutes to travel from Hislop Road to Canning Bridge the other day. 54 minutes. Why? Because of the traffic in the morning. I think we've got a problem that we really need to, as a community, have a look at in great depth. Anyway, my second question, the bus stop on Canning Highway, about 20 metres, travelling down Canning Highway to or from the intersection of Canning Highway and Sleet Road, stops the traffic on Canning Highway in the left lane, creates an unacceptable public safety risk in conjunction with traffic bottleneck. Putting this in context, there is another bus stop about 100 metres down the road, Canning Highway, with the bus turn-in safety lane for 2 buses. It's only 100 metres away. And putting this further in context, some people in Attadale, for example, walk 500 to 700 metres to a bus stop. You know, we've got to walk for miles to get a bus stop. And yet people in those areas down there can't walk 100 metres further down the road into a safe bus bay. We've got to stop the traffic in one lane in the mornings and create a traffic hazard of very, very large proportions. And then my question was, can the City of Melville please request as a public safety issue that the Department of Transport to remove this bus stop from Canning Highway? And if not, why not? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Coton, Director Environment and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. This question was responded to in November 2020 by the Public Transport Authority, who is the authority that locates bus stops with approval for Main Roads WA. The PTA's response was, when Canning Highway upgrades took place, bus stops were relocated, taking into account the potential for future bus priority, as this is a strategic bus route with a high level of service provision. For bus priority to benefit public transport services, bus stops are placed on the downstream of traffic signals. This explains why this bus stop was relocated across Sleet Road intersection towards the Canning Bridge station. Importantly, bus stops are also placed close to intersecting roads so that walking distances between the nearby passenger catchment and a bus stop are reduced to a minimal level. Locating bus stops close to intersections also increases the safe access to bus stops, as there is usually a formalised crossing, as is the case at Sleet Road, where there are pedestrian stages at the signalised intersection with Canning Highway. There has also been recent intensification of residential development in the nearby area, and locating the bus stop at the present position encourages use of public transport by an increased number of people living in the wider community. So that's the end of the response from the PTA in 2020. However, the City has forwarded this request on to PTA again and is following up and currently awaiting a response.
I appreciate that response. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marnie. Mr. McCleary of Bicton. Thank you very much, Mr. Ward. We will be taking those on notice and there will be a response in the minutes of this meeting. Mr. Halliday of Myree. Okay, there doesn't appear to be a representative or Mr. Halliday. Miss E. Nichols of Applecross.
Good evening, Council and the Mayor. I refer to the Independent Auditors Report, page 86, last paragraph. It states, I did not receive the other information prior to the date of the Auditor's Report. This is the Auditor speaking. My question is, why wasn't the other information supplied to the Auditor in time for the report? Also, if the Auditor locates a material misstatement in the report, he states that he will report it to the CEO and to the Council and request a correction to be made in this report. My question, will that material misstatement be made public? And if so, in what manner? That's it. That's my first question. I've got two.
Thank you. Acting Director Corporate Services, Ms. Ferreira.
Thank you for your question through the chair. The section 5.53 of the Local Government Act sets out the matters to be included in the local government's annual report, which includes the report from the Mayor or President, the report from the CEO, an overview of the plan of the future, the financial report for the financial year, and any additional information prescribed relating to payments, as well as the auditor's report. The Independent Auditor's Report is responsible for expressing an opinion on the annual financial statements. The annual report consists of two main components: the front-end section, which provides the contextual and supplementary information, and the annual financial statements, which appear in the latter part of the report. In accordance with the accounting standards, the auditor is not required to provide an opinion on the front end of the annual report. This section is therefore referred to as other information in the auditor's report. The auditor's responsibility regarding the other information is limited to considering whether it is materially inconsistent with the annual financial statements. Should the auditor identify any contradictions or material inconsistencies, this must formally be reported to the CEO and council. It is common practice for auditors to prioritise the audit of the annual financial statements and to receive the other information at a later stage. As a result, their review of the other information may occur after progressing with the financial statements audit itself. Hence, that standard paragraph is included in many independent auditors' reports. If I may answer the second part of your question as well, the auditor has since received the full annual report subsequent to providing the audit opinion, and upon the review of the full annual report, there were no misstatements found. Hence, there is no need to report anything to the CEO or council.
So can I ask the Mayor something? You said at the beginning of the meeting that there was some kind of an error, if I could use that word, that needs to be reported. To what did that refer?
I'll ask the Director of Legal, Governance and Risk, Mr. Yildiz, to respond.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. They predominantly were typographical errors and numbers that were actually inaccurate, that didn't present proper ratios correctly, but they were not material to any of the financial audited financials, as my colleague has confirmed. And there was one paragraph that I think was missing and didn't have the right text. The process from here, whilst they will be presented back to council to adopt the revised wording and making those minor corrections to the annual.
It wasn't due to anything like 85% of people in the Melville area enjoy living in Melville or something like that, where the percentage is maybe 40% instead of 85.
No.
Like that.
No, nothing like that.
Why wasn't the report?
Can you speak into the microphone,
Why
please?
wasn't, the thing's right in your face. Why, I've lost my train of thought. You turned around and said, why wasn't the other information given to the auditor prior to it? Why did he bother saying that? If, as you said, it was a normal practice that you don't have the other information in time for the auditor's report. Why would he say that? I don't understand why he bothered. If it's normal practice, why say it?
It is a disclosure that is made in many audit reports, audit opinions.
My second question is about Burragoon Lake, page 117 of the annual report, under the heading Possible Contaminated Sites. Burragoon Lake, which is a nationally accredited wetland, as being one of those said sites. There have been multiple studies done on the lake water quality and contamination over many years by various universities and others, including the City of Melville. Why hasn't the city conducted an investigation by now, a full appraisal investigation of what the full extent of the contamination actually is? And if they were to do that, when would they do it? And what remedial action would be taken to clean up the site or get rid of the contamination, whichever way you want to put it?
Mr. Coton, Director of Environment and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, the City commissioned an investigation in 2019 which included surface inspections, targeted removal of asbestos-containing material and subsurface testing in identified hotspot areas, and this investigation informed the current management approach for the site. The area in question is a bushland that appears to have been subject to historical asbestos dumping from surrounding housing demolition and renovation. Approximately 120 kilograms of asbestos-containing material was removed from the site as part of earlier works, with surface fragments subsequently managed through ongoing monitoring and targeted removal. The bushland site undergoes little disturbance and it's not subject to regular soil excavation or mechanical works. So remediation involving the excavation and removal of any remaining buried material would be a significant cost, and the city faces many competing funding priorities with finite resources. Importantly, such works would require extensive clearing and disturbance of established native vegetation, resulting in a substantial environmental impact. So on balance, environmental cost and ecological disturbance associated with large-scale remediation is considered likely to outweigh the very low risk posed by leaving a small amount of buried asbestos fragments in situ, particularly where the site is managed through access controls, routine monitoring and appropriate safety procedures.
I was actually referring to the water quality as opposed to the asbestos that's been dumped there. Could you comment on the water quality, please? Because that's why I thought it was considered a contaminated site from all the high arsenic levels and various other dangerous chemicals that are in that water, as we see in the water quality testing results that eventually come out. I've noticed.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that question. I notice it's not actually designated as a contaminated site under the DWER database, but we will take that question on notice and I'll
That
provide
wasn't
some
included
further.
in the actual report. Just said what a possible contaminated site.
That's correct, yes. Yeah.
But considering it's a lake, it should include
Yeah,
the water
yeah.
as well as the surrounding bushland.
Yeah, we'll take that question on notice and get
So
back
you
to you.
don't know the answer?
My understanding is that the contamination at that site is related to the asbestos at that site, but we will investigate your concerns.
Stated in the report, just that's why I've asked the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms Nicholson. We now have the City of Melville Residents and Ratepayers Association. Do we have a representative? Thank you. Yes, we will take these questions on notice and there will be answers in the report, the minutes. There is now an opportunity for those attending to ask a question from the floor. So please ensure your questions are concise and respectful and state your name and suburb. If you wish to ask a question this evening and not have already done so, please complete a hard copy question form and hand it to the member of staff. Copies are available at registration desk, and once your form is received, you'll be called to the microphone in order of the receipt. Otherwise, you can just come forward to the microphone and speak clearly into it, because if we don't have anything in writing, we could possibly get something wrong. Okay. Does anybody have a question from the floor? Please come to the microphone and give your name and your suburb.
Hi, I'm Jackie Curtis from Bicton. I'm also a member of the Tree Canopy Group. Oh, okay. Okay. I did actually submit my question.
You'll need to speak loudly.
I did submit my question on the Wednesday evening, so anyway, must have got lost or something. Anyway, I'll read it out. On page 24 of the report, under your clean and green outcomes, you state that council is seeking to increase the urban forest tree canopy on city managed land. This objective is reiterated again on page 48. Council has also previously committed to achieving a minimum total canopy cover of 15% in each suburb, every suburb, yet progress against this target has not yet been reported. Could Council please advise, 1, what percentage increase or decrease in tree canopy on public land was achieved in the 24-25 reporting year? 2, what was the percentage gain or loss of tree canopy on private land over the same reporting period? And 3, what specific measurable strategies will be reported on in the 25-26 reporting period to demonstrate how Council is actively managing and controlling progress towards improved tree canopy targets on both public and private land?
Mr. Coton, Director, Environment and Infrastructure.
Thank you. I don't have the exact figures to hand, so we'll take them on notice, but I can advise in relation to the last part of your question that the city has recently undertaken some aerial photography, had done an aerial photo run, and we'll be doing that on an annual basis. So that will enable us on an annual basis to report on the canopy cover within the city. That will be a percentage canopy cover, so that will give us some linear data over time.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions from the floor? Mr. Ward, please come forward.
Thank you. It's Gavin Waugh from Bull Creek. Looking at the number of people here and knowing that we have 113 odd thousand residents in the district, is council happy with the effort that's been made to engage with the community? This should be a question for council.
So can you repeat that question?
With 113,000 residents in the district and so few people here at the electors meeting, is council happy with the amount of engagement between the local government and the community for getting people to meetings like this?
Generally, people are happy with our city. Certainly, when I talk to them, and I think our surveys show that there's quite a level of happiness with the way we're running the city. So there wouldn't be a strong reason for them to attend a meeting, perhaps. I don't know. I can't read their minds. But I did read a list of places where we published this information. We notified. Yes, we did try to do that. If you have a special formula that you can give us to communicate with our residents, apart from speaking to everyone individually, we would really appreciate hearing from you and finding out how to do that, because from all the people who visit me from various groups have the same question: how do we reach people?
If that's an invitation to meet and discuss this matter, I accept.
If you have a way that we can guarantee higher consultation with residents, yes, I'd be very interested.
The only guarantees in life are tax and death, isn't it?
Yes, and that is very true. I agree with you.
Thank you.
And thank you. No, not really, but what is the question in respect to?
It was where we've got people online watching, and I thought it might answer some of Mr. Waugh's question if we knew how many people were online watching.
Oh, okay. Do we have an idea how many people are online? No, apparently we can't give you an idea, but there are a number online. Thank you. Are there any further questions? Yes, thank you. Come forward.
Matthew Charlton, Ardros. That's all the information you need, isn't it? Yep.
Yes.
Make sure I put the microphone up so you can hear me.
Thank you.
And I'm happy for you to take this question on note. I'm not expecting an answer tonight, but if it can be minuted and the relevant director of the relevant department to maybe follow up, that would be good. So it is the Road Safety and Travel Smart Working Group. I'm just wondering if this group has been disbanded or dissolved. And if so, why haven't any of the community representatives over the past, I think it's about 3 or 4 years since we last had a meeting, why have they not been notified? That's the first part. The second one is, if it hasn't been disbanded or dissolved and it's still active, then how come there's been no communication from the Travel Smart officer or the other relevant officer within that group to notify the community representatives? So I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but I'd certainly appreciate if a relevant director or someone in that department could follow up and get back to me.
The CEO says we'll take that on notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions from, yes, please come forward.
The City of Melville has many solar cells on domestic residents. They are increasing, and we have solar cells through residents throughout the metropolitan area. My question to the City of Melville is, what is the strategy for disposal of solar cells, thousands of them. I believe, reading some literature the other day, that we have well over 40,000 to 40,000 tonnes right now in Australia ready for disposal. Most will probably be buried. And the connection here is not only just removal of solar cells, but it's also the connection between the city and anybody that is going to process the solar cells in terms of recycling and reclamation of the parts of cells. And then there's the third part of what you do with all the reclamation and utilising that in society. I think it's a very important question in terms of the Commonwealth Government's policy for renewables. I don't necessarily expect a response tonight, but if there is a response, I appreciate it.
Ms Bowman, CEO.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
Ma-
please, your name and suburb.
My name's Dr. Graham Marnie. I live in Attadale. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your question. We will need to take that on notice, but it's a very important question and there's been a lot of discussion regarding product stewardship, and we will get back to you with a response in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, are there any further questions from the floor? Yes, please come forward and give your name and suburb.
Okay, Matthew Charlton, Ardros, and same again, I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but if it can be taken on note, minuted, followed up. To do with the City of Melville Verge Collect, the new system that's been implemented over the past 18 months or 2 years. Firstly, the actual method of making a booking is really smooth, straightforward, easy, simple. I don't usually, but I actually came into the Civic Centre downstairs and did the booking. And it was very well explained to me very clearly. There's the big pull-up banner, and it clearly indicates, and the lady that explained everything to me mentioned about separating all the different waste out, specifically e-waste, bulk cardboard recyclables, which I did, put it on the Verge. So the exact question I have is, and it should be noted that I've seen it in operation when I've been out and about, i.e. that there's a waste truck, there's a flatbed truck, there's usually the utility and like a small mini front-end loader that does all the work. However, so all the waste and recyclables and e-waste, etc., it was all put out on the Verge, clearly separated out. I actually happened to be there when they came through at 7:45 a.m. and this was back on the 18th of December last year. Now, there was only one waste truck. So 2 gentlemen, 1 waste truck. There was no flatbed truck, no utility. And so essentially I had quite a few items of e-waste and bulk recyclables as well. And all of it got picked up and put in the back of 1 waste truck. And I could see with my own eyes in front of me that it was compacted and crushed as they do when the waste goes in. So my question is, with all the information that's put out there to residents through the different avenues, and then, like I said, the booking was straightforward. But my concern is that if they're highlighting and encouraging people to separate out all the waste, and then on the actual day itself, why was only 1 waste truck there? And not only that, but why did all the stuff, including e-waste, and I had some large e-waste items and bulk recyclables, so why did that all go in the back of a waste truck? And to be honest, Blind Freddie could tell you that once it's gone in the back of that waste truck and been compacted or crushed, it's not going to be repurposed or recycled or reused. I know I did ask one of the gentlemen there that was doing the job, but to be frankly and brutally honest, once it's in the back of that truck and on the tip floor, you know, and you're talking about e-waste and it's in a million pieces, that's not going to be repurposed. So that's my question. And if somebody could follow up and look into it, I'd be very most appreciative of an answer. And just on a really quick side note as well, a few years ago, I was involved with the what they call the bin tagging program in this city. And I've had other things to do with what they used to call the Southern Metropolitan Regional Council or Resource Recovery Group. And I know it's now changed to Regroup or whatever. So I've got a a little bit more knowledge than just coming completely blind on this matter. Thank you.
Ms Bowman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr Charlton, for your question. We'll need to take that on notice, but it's a very important question and we'll get back to you as soon as we
Thank
can.
you.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Yes, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Christian Catucci. I live here in Ardros. So my question is the following, and I would appreciate a qualitative answer maybe now. Hopefully you should have something and more detailed if possible in the minute of meeting. The question regarding the LP6. So I believe that now will be almost 2 years that the proposal is around. There has been a lot of discussion, and my question is, can you please tell me, with regard with the initial proposal in terms of zoning and density, what have been, as of today, the main changes? So there is basically, what is the input from the public that you have considered to make changes to the initial proposal? If any, okay?
Mr Bareilles, Director of Planning.
Through the chair. Thank you for your question, Mr Catucci. The city has undertaken a number of technical studies to inform the next phase of the Local Planning Scheme 6 review process. I'm not in a position to provide any details on the changes at this point in time. We're still working through those changes with workshops scheduled with the elected members over the coming months, and a report will be forthcoming over the next few months that will be presented to council with further information.
No, sorry. Yeah, maybe you don't know. I'm an engineer, okay? Usually we do a variance analysis, and also in finance, you do variances, you do, a forecast, and then you calculate the delta. So I believe that, before there was someone from the public who was saying why there is no engagement. Actually, yeah, it's a big sacrifice for me to be here. I don't want to be here because I'm very frustrated, and I know a lot of people that they don't want to be here, okay? Because it's like being bouncing against a rubber wall. So again, I would really appreciate. I need the technical variance analysis. It's industry practice. I do variance analysis, delta analysis, whatever you want. So we need to understand if all the time, including mine, but I know a lot of people who have prepared a lot of detailed studies that have not been paid to do so, how those efforts has quantitatively impacted in terms of zoning, delta, that is, density going up or down, and zone changes with related to the revision 0, that is the first submission. That is very important. Okay, otherwise for me and for a lot of people, for the public, I really invite you, don't come here. We need to have a room like this empty, because if they don't take into consideration our input, I don't know, we're wasting our time. And I pay taxes, I pay all the taxes. Thank you.
Okay. Mr Bareilles, do you have any response to that?
Through the chair, thank you for your follow-up, Mr Catucci. I did mention that the city will be briefing council on a number of technical studies, and a report will be presented to council. It's scheduled before June 2026, and you'll have an opportunity to review that report, critique any of its findings, and provide further questions and deputations to council.
Yeah, thanks. That will be called variance analysis. Thank you.
Are there any further questions? If there are no further questions, I now close public question time at 6:49 p.m. Now we are on to item 6.3 motions. So 6.31 motions with notice. We now move on to motions from the community with notice. Motions will be raised in the order they were received. For those who would like to raise a motion and have not already provided a form, there may be an opportunity after those with notice have been tabled. So if you'd like to raise a motion without notice, please complete a hard copy form at the registration desk and hand it to a member of staff. Now, we have a number of motions this evening. So the first motion is moved by Mr. D. Morley of Willagee. Mr. Morley, please make your way to the microphone. Now, we'll put the motion on the screen for you to read because it is fairly lengthy and it will take a little bit of time to read it. So rather you read it yourself, can we have it on the screen, please? So, Mr. Morley, can you please state your name and suburb?
Certainly, Madam Mayor. My name is Drayton Morley and I'm a resident of Willagee.
Okay, we'll just let everybody read the motion. I take it that everybody has read it. So we're looking for a seconder. Thank you very much. Please state your name and suburb. Esther Cole of Melville. Thank you. Mr. Morley, you have 5 minutes to present your case. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor. CEO, councillors, lovely to be with you again. Essentially, the motion that I want to put forward to council is to take into consideration and to a greater degree than when I asked this question about the National Climate Risk Assessment and National Adaptation Plan towards the end of last year in council, about the potential liabilities that could arise out of council not taking mitigative action on increasing tree canopy. So the points there listed refer to the various aspects of what I tried to introduce into that question at that time. But essentially the first point that you can see up there, which is to do with foreseeable risk, is probably one of the most prescient, because what the National Climate Risk Assessment and National Adaptation Plan, which the federal government introduced and presented to Cabinet and to the country last year, clearly identify that tree canopy or the lack thereof proposes or puts a clearly foreseeable risk on the table. And the two cases that I've mentioned there, Sharma versus Minister for the Environment, and bushfire survivors versus New South Wales EPA in 2021, both those cases, although both were ultimately defeated on appeal, it still introduces the notion that if a case doesn't fully succeed, it sets a sort of a stepping stone for future legal challenges, and that the door now is slightly more ajar for liability cases to be put to the Melville City Council. And that what I perceive as being a very important factor in mitigating that risk is that tree canopy expansion, and you'll see in point 5, making that part of core governance rather than just an add-on, to hopefully mitigate the risk to council for any health issues that may arise out of employees being asked to work under duress in heat situations, which are getting more intense as climate change grabs hold of us all. And I think that the point that I make, point 3 there in the motion, is that council accept that tree canopy is one of the cheapest and most effective ways of reducing heat, protecting public health, and to show that the city is taking reasonable steps to reduce foreseeable harm. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make, is that if foreseeable action is taken for foreseeable risk, then it reduces liability. Point 4 refers to, and the motion for ABCD refers to some of the more recent decisions taken on land policy towards the end of last year, which are kind of specifics which I'd like the council to potentially consider as a revision if this motion was to be discussed and accepted. That's essentially my motion, and I commend it to you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morley. Is there a speaker against? I'll then move on to the seconder. Do you wish to speak? She does not wish to speak. Okay, thank you. Then we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. We have 2 officers who are going to count. Thank you. And those against? Thank you. That motion is carried. It is carried 27-1. Thank you very much. We're now moving on to our next motion.
Thank you.
The second motion is moved by Ms. Horn of Applecross. Ms. Horn, please make your way to the microphone. And we'll put the motion on the screen so you can read it. No, it doesn't. No. Okay, thank you. I take it that everybody has read it. Do we have a seconder? Is there a seconder? Please state your name and suburb. Simon French, Applecross. Sorry, Artros. Thank you. Yes, please proceed with your debate. 5 minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity to present this motion. Residents who use Canning Highway and live along Canning Highway disagree with the current emphasis in the local planning scheme 6 that prioritises densification along the Canning Highway.
Excuse me, can you just lower your microphone so you're speaking directly into it? Thank you.
Sorry, yes. Where the infrastructure is at capacity and the costs are high. The housing planned is neither equitable, reasonable, sustainable or affordable or available urgently. The community was promised a reset of LPS 6 and the project staging and implementation plan stage is in progress. But the traffic studies being undertaken send the signal that there's no appetite for a reset of the primary transport corridor. We understand that the choice of Canning Highway as a primary corridor was made around 2016 before assessments were available. Since then, the Canning Bridge Activity Centre report by Stantec, June 2022, commissioned by the City of Melville, states that Canning Highway between Canning Bridge and Risley Street will be beyond capacity by 2031. The Hatch Robert Days report, 2023, also commissioned by the City concerning the main road's duck and dive proposal for Canning Highway, supports this evaluation and also states that Canning Highway in 2023 experiences major congestion during peak periods, and I'm quoting here, particularly between Risley Street and Kwinana Freeway, and unreliable journey times for bus services. This is supported by residents who experience commutes of 40 minutes at least, and Mr. Mounier, 54 minutes to do an 8-minute journey by bus from Risley Street to Canning Bridge in peak hour. Canning Highway serves Perth and is designated variously as a primary regional road, a primary distributor, or an urban corridor. Doesn't the city have a responsibility to ensure its viability? Infill in its feeder suburbs and along Canning Highway will realistically bring forward its overcapacity. Either of the two major upgrade options presented by main roads where tunnels are utilised would limit development and housing opportunities and be extremely inconvenient for years over the course of the construction period. And that's options 2 and 3 in the Hatch report. A simple upgrade that includes the existing 4 lanes plus bus priority lanes, option 1 in the Hatch report, does not fix the overcapacity on Canning Highway by 2031, but might enable the highway to function providing density is not increased. However, the 6-lane Leach Highway with access to the freeway, good bus services and the Bull Creek station is an alternative to Canning Highway and would make available a wider footprint for affordable homes between Leach Highway and South Street. Leach Highway is not the future freight link, the singular reason the community have been quoted as to why Leach Highway has not been preferred for densification. I think they were going to use further south. Developing the station precincts urgently would provide sustainable and affordable areas, but the council has voted not to proceed with the station precincts, citing cost. However, letters received by members of the community recently from the Minister's office extol the virtues of the station precincts and place the precinct planning within LPS 6 and firmly with the city. Avoidance of these precincts in LPS 6 is unreasonable. Canning Highway is already over capacity at peak hour. However, the community around Canning Highway is not saying never for densification. When Canning Highway has undergone a major upgrade, there will be no disagreement with a return to development. Let's wisely ensure the infrastructure can deal with the capacity, not just to 2031, but to 2050 and beyond. Finally, I'd just like to say that many electors who plan to vote online have been excluded from voting in this meeting due to a switch from Zoom to YouTube without advance notification. This switch is not friendly to people with small children, the elderly, anyone who's homebound, or those who've been away, who are away. Additionally, none of the electors have been able to access the motions with notice in the agenda in advance, preventing them from doing any advanced research to guide their voting decisions. So finally, thank you very much. And I hope you like the motion. Thank you.
Is there a speaker against? If there is no speaker against, I will ask the seconder if he wishes to speak. Does the seconder wish to speak? You'd need to come to the microphone and identify yourself.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and everyone else in the room. I only wish to say that...
just please identify yourself, your name and suburb.
Simon French from the suburb of Ardross. So I merely wish to state that during the process of LPS 6 review, it's been of considerable concern to myself and a large number of other residents that the proposals do not align well at all with obvious and well-known infrastructure constraints within the city of Melville, and particularly within the city of Ardross and north of Leach Highway. I appreciate the effort that went into the preliminary proposals for LPS 6, but a lot of us feel that the high level and perhaps desktop nature of the assessment that was done fails to recognise real and obvious constraints which are present within our city. And we would like to see those now being recognised. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we'll go straight to the vote. Is that okay with you, Ms Horn? Straight to the vote. So all those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. Those against? Thank you. This motion is carried 21-1. Thank you. Moving on to the third motion this evening, moved by Mr French of Applecross. Mr French, please come make your way to the microphone. And please, yes, there's the motion. And let's give the audience a little bit of time to read it. I know it's very small. This appears to be quite complex. Is there any way of expanding it? Because apparently we can't.
Would you like an edited
Yeah,
summary?
I think you could give us a summary, please.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and everyone in the room. My motion essentially has three parts. It relates to the matter to which I've just spoken, which is concern around LPS 6 density increases for a significant piece of infrastructure just over there, and that's Applecross Senior High School. The motion is in three parts. The first part relates to recognition of problems associated with capacity at the school. The second part relates to action that we would like to see the City of Melville undertake to assess the impact of LPS 6 upon the Applecross Senior High School. The third part of the motion relates to requesting changes to density in the LPS 6 proposals as a result of undertaking an appropriate level of assessment. So that's the basic summary of what the motion is. I appreciate it is quite complex, but it relates to the complexity of the problem. So if you like, I will give you the edited highlights of the reasons behind my motion.
Okay, thank you. But first of all, we need a seconder of the motion. Thank you. Please state your name and suburb. Thank you. Karen Horn, Ardross. Yes, Mr French, do you wish to continue with your debate now?
Yes, thank you. Applecross Senior High School is already well beyond capacity. It was built for 1,563 students. By last year, enrolments had reached almost 2,000. That's more than 25% over capacity and still rising. It's actually 60 plus students per year on average for the last 5 years at least. The site is fully constrained. It is now dependent on 25 transportable classrooms. Go over the road and have a look. That's more than double what's at any other high school in the city of Melville. Yes, an upgrade is planned. The Department of Education plans to take the school to 2,500 students in terms of built capacity. But even in the best case scenario, that capacity will be quickly absorbed by current growth trends. Growth trends that the chair of the school board and, as recorded in Parliament, say the Education Department has consistently underestimated. The member for Bateman, for example, said in Parliament in November 2024, Applecross Senior High School is at greater than 25% over capacity. The local population is growing at a fast rate and continuing to increase. Government enrolment projections have consistently been underestimated, with 2025 student enrolments at that time expected to exceed 2,000. We're pretty much there. Classrooms are overcrowded. Temporary solutions such as transportable classrooms are no longer sustainable, with the school running out of space for further transportable classrooms by 2026. No further trees can be removed. The oval and courts cannot be used for transportable classrooms. Additional transportables will lead to the loss of sporting sheds and car parks. Our facilities cannot cope with the demand. The ageing infrastructure poses safety risks and limitations on learning. This is a constrained site, with our oval the only available land being occupied by transportables. The oval is also being overutilised due to overdemand on our single gymnasium and pool that has been out of action for the past 18 months. Our oval is also a valuable community public open space, connecting people, increasing physical activity and improving mental health. Mr. Dwyer, the chair of the Applecross Senior High School Board, went further in an update to parents. Unlike many schools, Applecross has no capacity to expand outward due to fixed boundaries, a heavily utilised shared oval, environmental constraints including a local government heritage listing, mature trees and black cockatoo habitat. Mr. Dwyer, the chair of the school board, also cited substantial population growth through urban densification and major developments as a key reason for the growth in our suburb. We're now in 2026 with nearly 2,000 enrolments and 25 transportable classrooms, the last 6 arriving between Christmas and New Year. The level of planning was so good, they couldn't even get the buildings in without destroying a private residence driveway opposite. That's how good the Department of Education's planning is. So that capacity, like I said, 2,500 students is what they're going to grow the school to. But at the rate it's increasing, that buys less than 6 years. And that's if you build it quickly by 2028, probably not going to happen. You've got even less time than that in reality. The situation is, by the time they've built it, within 2 years, they'll have to start building again. But this time, there's no more room. You can't build anywhere else as easily, and certainly not as big. So the capacity of the school will come to a short and rapid conclusion well before any density increases from LPS 6 actually arrive. And that's on the basis of just what is happening right now. We also have additional density increases coming from Canning Bridge already. Almondbury Road, right in front of you, is zoned R100. One of those developments alone is for 57 apartments, rejected by the city quite rightly, but then overridden by the state government and approved at 7 stories in a 4-story zone. That's just one development, and there's more to come. Where do you think the additional capacity at Applecross High School is going to come from under LPS 6? It's simply not there. But yet, in LPS 6, 51% of the density increases, yes, I've added it up, are actually in the Applecross Senior High School catchment. Only 9% of those density increases are actually south of Leach Highway. This is not sustainable. It ignores reality. The city has a responsibility to align growth with reality, not hope. Approving further density without proven school capacity is not planning, it is risk. LPS 6 may knowingly overwhelm a school that is already beyond its limits. This motion is clear. The city must reassess and require credible, defensible evidence of school capacity before approving any density increases in the Applecross High School area, and must remove those that cannot be supported beyond reasonable doubt. That is what my motion is for, and I commend you to please support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone against? Any speaker against? All right, I'll call upon the seconder. Do you wish to speak now? No, the seconder does not wish to speak. So we'll go straight to the vote. So all those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. Those against? Thank you. That motion is carried 24 to 1. Thank you. Moving on.
Thank you.
moving on to the next motion. The fourth motion this evening is moved by Mr. G. War of Bull Creek. Mr. War, please make your, I thought you had used your middle letter or something of your name, but yes, please come forward and take the microphone. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. War. Mr. War has now withdrawn that motion. So we're moving on to the fifth motion this evening, moved by Mr. D. Segi of Leeming. Mr. Segi, can you please make your way to the microphone? State your name and suburb.
Hello, I'm David Segi from Leeming. Before I begin, thank you for having me tonight. I respectfully ask, I slaved over the weekend to prepare for the 10 minutes advertised on the website. So I will try and cut as I go, but if I could have some leniency, I'd be greatly appreciative of that, if that's possible.
Yes, that will be by the meeting's decision. The meeting can indicate to me if they're happy for you to go past your 5 minutes. Oh, well, you haven't heard anything yet, so let's start with the 5 minutes to see how we go.
Okay, thank you so much. My motion is if the Walga tree retention policy is the minimum standard tree retention policy on private land. So essentially, if the City of Melville is going to create their own plan, I suggest that this is our baseline. And that's my proposal this evening to talk to that. Yep. So
thank you. Can we, is there a seconder for this motion? Thank you very much. Please state your name and suburb. Esther Cole, Melville. Thank you. Proceed with your debate.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Members of City of Melville Council and my fellow ratepayers, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'd also like to acknowledge my father, Robert, here, who is currently the president of the Netherlands Tree Canopy Association. He taught me a very important principle, that we are not owners of our environment, but we are custodians responsible for handing it on in good condition to the next generation, which I hope to do for my children. I would have liked to bring my 3-year-old daughter, Lucy, and my 18-month-old son here tonight, but it is their bedtime and they would create a ruckus. As for many parents who cannot attend these meetings, this is a tricky age for parents and for children, as you all know. My kid's favourite pastime is playing on a swing that is tied to my 6-year-old peppermint tree in my backyard and helping me harvest fruit from the trees we have, which they proudly call the num-num trees. They don't understand planning policy, but they understand shade. They understand play, and they understand what it means when it's too hot. This is why I'm here to ask for your help tonight and raise the motion so that our to keep in mind that our tree policy is not just a 3-year or a 6-year issue, it's a 50-year issue. A canopy tree takes about 50 years to mature, while the average home in Melville changes hands several times on average in that period. I think it's 12 years. Most residents move on long before trees reach their full maturity, yet children who cannot vote for these decisions will have to live with them. Leeming currently has about 13% tree coverage, which is about the same as Melville. The city's target is 15%, while other council benchmarks sit around 30%. These figures are not criticisms. They raise a question of what is our ambition. So what do we want Leeming and Melville to look like in the future? And what must a tree policy include to achieve that, I ask? Tonight's proposal should rest on 3 principles. Trees must be treated as long-term infrastructure. Canopy loss must be addressed through planning, not planting alone. And development must be required to add canopy, not erase it. Policy is not about managing today, it is about shaping our future. First, clear and unambiguous definitions. Any effective tree policy must start with robust definitions. A small ornamental tree is not equivalent to an established shade tree. Established tree is not the same as a significant habitat tree that supports wildlife. Clear definitions allow planning direct decisions to reflect the true scale, cost and long-term impact of removal. They also recognise that some trees must be managed with custodial mindset because they will outlive individual owners, developments and even councils. Second, a real pathway for where canopy is now to where it needs to be. Targets alone do not grow trees. Delivery plans do. Melville's canopy currently sits at 12.5% with a goal of reaching 15% over the next decade. If we're serious about long-term livability, that can't be our finish line. Across Perth and Peel, the state target is 30% canopy by 24, highlighting the importance of this issue. I welcome Melville developing in its own policy rather than simply adopting WAUGA's. But that choice brings higher expectations of trying to raise the percentage higher than that or do it faster, as we want Melville to be a livable suburb. The policy must clearly set out how canopy will actually increase over time, especially from such a low starting point. A genuine pathway relies on enforceable planning controls, treating verges as essential planting spaces, requiring subdivisions and grouped houses to develop canopy outcomes, installing advanced trees early and protecting existing trees during construction. The fastest way to grow a canopy is to stop unnecessary loss. This requires long-term thinking. If Melville wants to lead canopy delivery, it must be embedded in planning. My third, development that adds canopy and not removes it. This is not me being against development. Development's a good thing, but instead of it destroying things, making it part of the solution in shaping a really livable suburb. Mature trees deliver shade and cooling decades sooner than saplings can to provide the same benefit. Shifting today's decision into future residents would have been beneficial today on 42-degree day. Providing advanced canopy trees costs only a small fraction of overall development value, yet delivers immediate and lasting benefit to streets and neighbourhoods. Fourth, subdivision rules that require trees on every lot and space for them to grow. The pattern is consistent. Large blocks are subdivided, existing trees are cleared, sites are flattened, and new homes are built with little or no meaningful canopy. I've seen this repeatedly on my own street, where 7 blocks have been subdivided and completely cleared in the past 3 years. Each time the canopy is reset to 0. Subdivision is the moment where council have its greatest ability to change this pattern, requiring each new created lot to include 1 large canopy tree or 2 medium canopy trees planted at subdivision stage. Subdivision design must also include appropriate setbacks. Just as planning rules control how close I can build to my fence, they should ensure enough space and soil volume and separation for trees to grow to maturity. This will prevent them from being cut down later. Fifth, recognising public benefit when a private tree functions as a public tree. Some places are valued not because of ownership, but because what they give to their community. In Fremantle, building owners may renovate interiors, but heritage-listed street facades are protected because they contribute to the character of the city of Fremantle. Trees function no differently. When a tree shades a footpath, cools a park edge, or shapes the character of a street, the benefit to the public is, without question, no matter where that trunk stands. We see this in Leeming and Summer streets without shade because it's difficult to walk. My kids can't walk on the footpath. While shaded streets like Mary Road across from Leeming Primary are noticeably cooler and more comfortable. My son wants to get out of the pram and walk. People instinctively gather where trees provide relief. After school, the children and young parents from Leeming Primary all gather at the park under the shade of the trees and play and picnic where it is cooler and where the birds gather. When trees improve public space in a way they function as infrastructure, policy should recognise that these benefits extend beyond property boundaries and that we are the custodians and share the community shade. Sorry, I know I'm over time. Reasonable limits on removal. Not every tree can or should be retained. I'm not saying that, but removal should be based on necessity, not convenience. A driveway or a garage placement or minor design preference should not outweigh the long-term value of a mature tree where reasonable alternatives exist. Built elements are flexible, trees are not. Driveways and buildings can shift, but once established, a tree cannot be moved and takes decades to replace. My 7th, fair but effective enforcement. Across Australia, serious illegal tree clearing attracts penalties ranging from hundreds of thousands of dollars, whereas we all saw millions of dollars in New South Wales last year. These penalties exist because mature trees deliver long-term economic, environmental, and health benefits. And weak enforcement does not change behaviour. Ownership does not override public interest, where shared character or amenity is at stake. Trees function in the same way. While a tree may stand on private land, its shade, cooling, and contribution to streets and public spaces benefit everyone. We are not owners of community shade. We are custodians of it. My final reason, we need positive incentives, positive reinforcement. I'm a primary school teacher. Supporting residents who retain significant trees through measures such as free advance trees, design assistance, or rates-based incentives, which is Canning Vale, I do believe, recognises a simple reality. Private trees deliver substantial public benefit. Mature trees reduce heat. They lower household energy use and cut summer power bills by decreasing reliance on air conditioning. At a council level, canopies reduce heat stress on roads. Footpaths extends infrastructure life. There's a clear economic and social return. Streets with established canopies are consistently more desirable, with property values around 10% higher than streets without trees. Tree-lined neighbourhoods are linked to improved well-being, greater walkability, and stronger community connection. Applecross's Jacaranda Festival is a great example of this, isn't it? We are already seeing hotter streets, aren't we? Declining habitats for black cockatoos and neighbourhoods that are becoming harder to walk and live in. So the question becomes, what legacy do you guys want to leave? The through line tonight is simple. Trees must be treated as long-term infrastructure. Canopy loss must be addressed through planning, not planting alone. And development must be required to add canopy, not erase it. Every day I work with children who care so deeply about the places they grow up in. They do not have a vote yet, but they will live in the outcomes of what is decided and how this policy is created. It was my first day back at school today after the holidays, and I spoke to my year sixes, and I told them that I was going to speak tonight, and I spoke about how one person's voice matters, particularly when represented by a group, young families and children. I told my students I was speaking tonight for my family, and to extend for them. This is passionate. So they told me to look at Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. Whoa, way too emotional. Unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. You are all in a position to care. If Melville is writing this policy, let it be remembered that you chose stewardship. Thank you. Ooh.
Thank you very much. Is there a speaker against? If there is no speaker against, I'll ask the seconder if you would like to speak now. The seconder, Ms. Cole? Yep, true. Okay, we'll go straight to the vote then. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Yeah, you need to vote. Thank you. Those against? That is carried 26-0. The sixth motion this evening is moved by Ms. V. Moore of Applecross. Ms. Moore, please make your way to the microphone. Please state your name and suburb.
Vanessa Moore, Applecross.
The motion is on the screen. Okay, do I have a seconder or does she have a seconder? Thank you very much. Just repeat your name and suburb. Esther Cole, Melville, thank you. And can you proceed with your debate, Ms. Moore?
Thank you. Good evening to the Mayor and to everyone in the room. This submission is in support of the motion to increase the City of Melville's tree canopy target to 30% by 2040. The Western Australian Government's urban greening strategy sets a target to increase tree canopy cover in the Perth and Peel regions to 30% by 2040 and includes supporting actions such as planting 1 million trees by 2035 and incentive programs like tree bait. This strategy is designed to promote sustainable development, combat urban heat, improve community health and well-being, and enhance biodiversity and access to nature. It is vital that the City of Melville aligns its own strategic targets with this state government initiative. Working collaboratively with the state government to identify regulatory and policy mechanisms will ensure that the city is prepared and adaptive, not reactive, as these statewide goals evolve. Proactive action reduces future costs, avoids rushed or underfunded programs, and demonstrates leadership rather than responding under pressure if state policy expectations harden over time. Urban tree canopy deliver multiple proven benefits. A robust tree canopy is more than a beautification project. It delivers measurable environmental, social, and economic benefits. Number one, heat reduction and climate resilience. Trees provide shade and cooling, mitigating the urban heat island effect that makes built environments significantly hotter than surrounding areas. Research indicates that increased canopy coverage can reduce mean urban temperatures and the number of extreme heat conditions over time. Number two, improved air quality and public health. Trees absorb air pollutants, remove particulate matter, and improve air quality. Urban green spaces are also linked to mental and physical health benefits, including reduced heat-related illness. Stormwater management, number three. Vegetation reduces stormwater runoff by absorbing water and filtering pollutants, easing pressure on drainage infrastructure and improving water quality. Number four, biodiversity and livability. A diverse urban forest supports wildlife habitat and enhances local biodiversity. Greening strengthens community livability, encourages active lifestyles, social cohesion, and increases property values. Community surveys undertaken by Melville tree canopy advocates as recently as last week reflect strong local support for practical greening ideas, including planting trees on council verges and laneways, expanding median strip plantings for beautification and traffic calming, and innovative funding mechanisms to support tree maintenance on private properties. These suggestions align with global urban forestry practices that demonstrate high cost benefit outcomes when paired with strategic planning and long-term care. The need for expert guidance. While community ideas are valuable and many are practical, achieving a 30% canopy target requires a comprehensive strategy backed by science, data, and proven mechanisms. Engaging a subject expert such as Arbor Carbon would enable the city to evaluate evidence-based strategies and long-term canopy growth models, consider regulatory mechanisms, example, protections for mature trees, incentives for private land canopy retention, learn from precedents and best practices in other cities and jurisdictions, and identify the most cost-effective pathways to meet canopy goals. Aligning policy with expert analysis ensures Melville is not left behind or exposed to future compliance challenges, especially as other local governments in WA and across Australia develop or refine urban forest strategies. Conclusion. By adopting an updated tree canopy target aligned with the state government's urban greening strategy and commissioning expert support, the City of Melville will future-proof its planning, protect community wellbeing, and deliver long-term environmental and economic value. This proposal represents strategic, proactive governance that places Melville at the forefront of sustainable local government leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have a speaker against? Does the seconder wish to speak now? The seconder does not wish to speak, so I'll bring that to the vote. So all those in favour, please raise your hands. And those against? I now declare that motion carried 26-0. Moving on to the seventh motion. The seventh motion this evening is moved by Miss E. Charlton of Melville. Miss Charlton, please make your way to the microphone. The motion is on the board, so please take a moment to read it. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Can you repeat your name and suburb? Esther Cole, Melville. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Charlton, can you proceed with your debate?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Ms. Bellman, CEO, councillors and members of the public. My name is Emma Charlton of Melville. I'm the founder of the BTH project, BTH, Be the Hope, creator of award-winning Bottletop Hill, now the largest community-run recycling hub for specified items and plastic polymers in Perth. And I advocate for improved community environmental sustainability with a particular focus on community connections, social and planetary well-being. I am also a citizen scientist with the Australian Microplastic Assessment Project, AUSMAT, a national or a nationwide citizen science initiative documenting microplastic pollution, raising awareness in the community also on substances meeting the theoretical criteria for carcinogens, the release of chemical compositions, stormwater discharge, microplastic loss and heat impacts, which aligns with other submissions tonight. The motion I put forward tonight is to amend the verge treatment policy to remove artificial turf from the list of approved or permissible hard surfaces treatments in recognition of its negative impacts on urban heat, stormwater infiltration, biodiversity and long-term environmental sustainability. So the submission is in support of removing artificial turf, and the City of Melville's verge treatment policy plays an important role in shaping the environmental quality, livability and resilience of our streets. Allowing artificial turf as a permissible service is inconsistent with the city's climate, biodiversity and urban cooling objectives, and it needs to be removed from the policy. Artificial turf contributes significantly to urban heat island effect, and numerous studies show that the synthetic turf can reach surface temperatures far higher than natural grass or vegetated surfaces. And research by CSIRO and international studies have found artificial turf can exceed 60 to 70 degrees Celsius on warm days, compared with much lower temperatures for living vegetation. And there are references in my submission that quote. Unlike living vegetation, artificial turf provides no cooling. The trees, shrubs and real grass actively reduce surrounding air temperatures, and also which improve thermal comfort. The WA Department of Water Environmental Regulation highlights vegetation is a key tool in reducing urban heat and improving climate resilience. Artificial turf also negatively impacts stormwater management. Natural soil and vegetation allows water infiltration. Artificial turf is typically installed over compacted bases that significantly reduce permeability. This increases surface runoff and the risk of localised flooding and pollution entering the waterways. From a biodiversity perspective, artificial turf provides no habitat, no food sources, no ecological function. In contrast, even simple verge planting with native grasses, shrubs or trees supports insects, birds and urban wildlife. Just to mention, supporters of the BTH project also includes Perth NRM and Rewild Perth. Walga and the WA government consistently promote increasing vegetation cover on verges to support biodiversity and canopy goals. Now, there are also growing concerns about microplastic pollution. An artificial turf sheds plastic fibres and infill materials over time, which are then transported into soils, drains and waterways. The United Nations Environment Programme identifies synthetic turf as a source of microplastics in urban environments. And finally, artificial turf is often promoted as low maintenance, yet it is limited in its lifespan, limited in recyclability. It requires periodic replacement, cleaning, weed control, and can become visually degrading. It's also linked with burns and health risks, and being on council property, this raises a concern too. Its long-term environmental and financial costs are rarely fully accounted for when compared to sustainable plant alternatives. So verges are valuable public land. They represent one of the few spaces where councils can directly increase urban greenery, tree canopy, and climate resilience at scale. Allowing artificial turf treats the space as a decorative service rather than a living environmental asset. And for these reasons, it is asked that artificial turf as a permissible hard surface should be removed. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Is there a speaker against?
For the council verges, council verge.
Yes, it's not private land, it's public land. The council verges only. That's what the speaker is talking about. No. Okay, the seconder. Does the seconder wish to speak now? No, doesn't wish to speak. So then we'll move straight to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands now, including you. Yep. Those against, please raise your hands. Thank you. The motion is carried. Is that a 25 or a 26? Oh, 25-0. Thank you. Now, there's an opportunity for motions to be tabled from the floor. And again, if you have not completed a form, please, there is one at the registration desk. Once received, you'll be called forward. So are there any other motions from the floor? It doesn't appear to be. Okay. Now, it's been mentioned to me that we possibly should have general business. Is that, Mr. Moore, that is what you're requesting? So general business, is there any general business? If there's no general business, I thank you. That concludes all motions and business for the evening. So motions passed are scheduled to be considered at the February 2026 ordinary meeting of council as a late item. The movers of the motions will be advised of the outcome of that meeting. Now, there being no further business, I thank everybody for their attendance, and I would just like to say that you are welcome to stay a little while and talk to directors, the CEO, or the elected members if they have that opportunity. Some may have to, they may have other commitments, and namely work in the morning or this evening, I don't know. So just bearing that in mind, you're very welcome to stay a little bit longer. Just bear in mind that our doors are going to lock at 8:10. It doesn't mean to say you can't stay and talk, but you will need to wave your hand at the exit. There's a little hand waving thing. So when you go to the door, you wave your hand and you will be let out. So if you get stuck or can't get out, there will always be somebody here to help you. So do not worry or panic. All right. So thank you very much. I now declare this meeting closed at 7:44 p.m. Thank you for your attendance and your motions and speeches. Want to say something? Oh, I thought you did. Perfect. I was just about I know. Actually, got through a lot. I know.